Are you thinking about buying a home in Atlanta? Don't be one of the people that makes one of these mistakes. If you are thinking about buying a home in Atlanta, there are some mistakes that I see buyers make all of the time. Some of those mistakes can cost you money, some of them can cost you time, and some of those are decisions that you will be regretting long after you purchase the home. Mistake number one is not getting a pre-approval first. I see this all the time. Buyers are on Zillow home shopping. They see a home in Buford, Suwanee, Alpharetta, fall in love with the house, see themselves living there. And then reality shows up. The monthly payment is higher than expected. The HOA is higher than expected. Property taxes are higher. And before you know it, now every other home just looks like it does not compare to that home. Or they simply do not qualify for the amount of the purchase price. Getting pre-approved isn't about getting the maximum amount, but it's really finding also what you are comfortable spending each month and living with. I always tell buyers that getting a pre-approval is the very, very first step that you do, not shopping for the home. Mistake number two is ignoring the commute. Unfortunately, a lot of people look on a map and go, well, everything looks close together. How bad can it be? And then they actually discover Atlanta traffic. And that's one of those things where I have personal experience with that. I try not even to go on I-85. There's always some sort of a backup. And switching from one interstate to another, it is completely insane. Like California, you have the 6-lane highways. Thank you. I lived there for a while. And then here we've got 3. But we have the amount of traffic it seems like we do in California. So everybody comes together and it's a mess. For example, my ex-husband, he was working in Duluth and he lived in Monroe. Now, in theory, that should be a roughly 45-minute drive. But unless you were leaving, before 5 o'clock in the morning or before 3:30 in the afternoon, or like after 7 in the evening, that commute easily doubled in time. Monroe, because that was more of our price point and he wanted some acreage and those kind of things. So the house wasn't the problem, but the commute it definitely was. And a lot of people start saying, you know what, I can handle that. And then they have to start doing it every day. And when you do it every day, that time definitely hits differently because now you're not spending time with your family. You're not working on stuff that you could be working at home because you're sitting in traffic. So before you buy, if you are from out of state, you definitely want to put in the time that you would need to arrive at your work and put that into Google Maps. It'll give you a pretty accurate view. And a lot of times you'll look on Google Maps and it'll be, the drive could be between 50 minutes and an hour and 50 minutes. So since you don't want to show up late at work, it's probably not a gamble you want to take. And now you are planning for an hour and 50-minute commute. And on some dates, it only takes you 50 minutes because people just love getting to work an hour early. Mistake number 3 that I see people make all the time is buying the house at the maximum budget. So let's say your lender pre-approved you for $700,000. That does not mean you need to be buying a home that's $700,000 because what you have to take into consideration, for example, what if a spouse loses a job? What if the property taxes or insurance go up? And that's almost a guarantee. My opinion, don't hold me to it, don't sue me. But those are guaranteed to go up. My insurance has for sure in the last year, I think, gone up by $800. And property taxes, when you have an event like we had, COVID, all of a sudden taxes go up from around $4,000 to $7,500 because your home value has increased. Meanwhile, you've been paying down the home. So if you're not taking that into consideration in your monthly payment, that is an issue. A lot of people focus on getting the most house for their budget at maximum budget. And I help people live comfortably in the home that they choose. And sometimes that means buying a $600,000 home, even though you're pre-approved for $700,000, or buying one at $650,000, and that gives you some wiggle room. Mistake number 4 that I see people making is not considering HOA fees. Now, depending on where you are, that could be $75 a month, it could be $250 a month, but it definitely changes your payment. But also, what if you don't want to be living in an HOA? Now, if you prefer somebody doing a lot of regulation and telling you what color to paint your door and those kind of things, that might be okay for you. But if you are like, hey, you know what, I've got some recreational vehicles, I've got a boat, there's a pretty good chance you won't be allowed to store those there. So those are things you want to take into consideration as well. Would you be okay living in an HOA, and how much is that HOA each month? Mistake number 5 is skipping the inspection. Now that kind of seems like no, of course we're going to have an inspection, but I see that unfortunately a lot, because people walk to a property and it's beautifully renovated on the inside, the kitchen countertops are new, the bathroom is remodeled, and people go, you know what, let me save a couple hundred on this inspection, and we don't really need one. But then later, when issues arise, there's nothing else that we can do. After you've signed that and you forfeit the inspection, that is on you. And I've seen homes that looked beautifully on the inside, but then had massive foundational issues. So that is not something that you want to gamble with. If you're spending money on doesn't even matter what price point, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 home, you're spending a substantial amount on something that you ideally want to live in for a long time. So why skip out on an inspection? Mistake number 6 that I see people make oftentimes is not shopping for insurance. And that is a big factor. And depending on what insurance you wind up going with, a lot of times if you bundle things, I don't really know how they do that, I'm not an insurance agent. I'm, for example, with State Farm, and when I was single sometime in my 20s, insurance was just for my car was like pretty high, and now my insurance for my car is super low because I'm bundling it along with the house insurance. So I would definitely recommend shopping for insurance. Sometimes I get ahead of myself with the talking, my accent, and so mistake number 7 is falling in love with the house too early. So, example, buyer walks into a home and it's like, the kitchen is perfect, the backyard is perfect, and then this is the house, like we gotta have it no matter what. And it's an emotional decision, because now if something comes up during the inspection, or major things that really could impact the home buying, people start rationalizing things away because they are emotionally invested. And in the end, they wind up overpaying or wind up making bad house decisions. And the truth is, there's like almost always another home. Is it going to be exactly the same? No. But for what you're looking for, it's like a very high chance you're going to be able to find another home, and one that you can actually live with long term, financially, but also inspection wise. The buyers who make the best decisions are usually the ones that are able to stay calm and collected and were able to negotiate. If you are emotionally invested, you will start making some decisions that are not in your best interest. So buying a home in Atlanta can be an amazing experience, whether you're purchasing new construction or an existing home, whether you are moving to Buford, Alpharetta, or Loganville, whether you're coming from another state, out of the country, or you're simply moving suburbs. By the way, my name is Melody Kelley, licensed as Anya Kelley Fastring. I'm with eXp Brokerage, and I help buyers who are relocating to Atlanta or who are moving from one suburb to another make the best decisions in the buying process. In the end, avoiding these mistakes can make your home buying process go much, much smoother. And if you have any questions or you would like to discuss further, my link to book a Zoom call with me, and it's going to be me, no one else, is going to be in the description. If you are into selling your home, I have that link as well. And each one of those will give you an intake form where you can simply already fill out some of the things you're looking for, your must-haves, your must-avoids, those kind of things. And then we will jump on a Zoom call together and start discussing your journey. I look forward to hearing from you.